Hello, I'm David from Germany. Welcome to my channel Polyglot Reading, where I talk about books written in English, German, Italian, French, or Yiddish, which I have read in their original language. Today's book is not a literary classic, but it's a highly recommendable piece of intelligent entertainment for all ages. And the book I would like to talk about is the book The City of Dreaming Books by the German writer Walter Moers. So the original is in German, but there is a congenial translation in English available, almost 20 years old. However, I got the impression that this excellent book is still little known among English readers. At least it is almost absent at the English corner of BookTube. And this may partly be due to the fact that the way this book is promoted, and also maybe the cover illustrations of the book, are a bit misleading, so that the book is frequently misunderstood as being something primarily for kids or teenagers or young adults only, which is definitely not the case. In fact, I think that it is a novel for all ages and a perfect form of highly intelligent entertainment, also and in particular for the more erudite adult reader. It's perfectly suitable to be read by kids or teenagers, but I'm sure that most of them will only be able to follow the plot on the surface, which is also an absolutely gripping and exciting adventure. But reading it like this, you actually miss out on much of the extraordinary creativity and originality of the text. Indeed, the more well-read and the more familiar with literary classics you are, the more you will understand and enjoy the word plays, the experimentation with different styles and narrative concepts, the wacky fantasy of the author, and the novel's many literary allusions spread all over the book. And if you are a bookish person, you will definitely like the whole atmosphere of the book, which talks a lot about books and bibliophilic or nerdy bookish stuff. Formally, it is a novel of the fantasy genre, but to tell you the truth, I think that this book escapes and defies the usual categorization. The author plays very creatively with various literary forms, styles, and motifs. And so this novel is an adventure fantasy story, it is an adventure story, it is a quest, it's a sort of quirky satire of a Bildungsroman, and it also has some elements of the Gothic novel scent of fairy tales. It reads as if Terry Pratchett, Douglas Adams, and Lewis Carroll were sitting together, smoking some grass, and trying to jointly concoct a story. But not that this the style of this author is any second-rate imitation of one of the styles, not at all. I think Walter Moers has its very own unique style, truly unique, and that stands out from the crowd as a solitary mountain peak. And as far as I can judge, the English translation by John Brownjohn really manages to deliver all or most of this also to the English reader. The novel is set in the world of Zamonia, which is a whole continent invited by the author, like Terry Pratchett's Flat Earth or Tolkien's Middle Earth. And on this continent, Zamonia, there do not live any humans, but a huge variety of strange forms of life, all life forms invented by the author, such as lindworms, a kind of dinosaur that can walk upright, can talk, but above all, can write great pieces of literature. And there are the nocturnomaths, which are the most intelligent species of Zamonia, that they are endowed with up to 7 brains. There are the uglies, which is a very ugly species of witches who can foretell the future. And there are shark grubs. So these are beings with the body of a maggot, but also some tiny arms and the head of a shark. So all very crazy creatures and stuff. The story is narrated in the first person by the Lindworm Optimus Yarnspinner, who is the most famous writer of Zamonia of all times, and he narrates the story of the greatest adventure of his youth in search of a mysterious manuscript and its unknown author. This is a project that requires him to move to the city of Bookholm and risk his life in the city and in its antiquarian bookshops, and above all, in the immense and dangerous labyrinth underneath the city. Usually all the Lindworms live together at Lindworm Castle, which is a gigantic hollowed out mountain. And as true literates and bibliophiles, they devote their lives entirely to the production and cultivation and curation of literature and great books. And so all Lindworms are writers, and to each young Lindworm is assigned a literary godfather, a kind of mentor who encourages and supervises his literary training. And this is where the story starts. Optimus Yarnspinner's literary godfather, Lancelot Worldwright, on his deathbed, entrusts Optimus with a mysterious manuscript. It's only a fragment, very short, a few lines, but these lines are of such a high literary quality that this is considered the perfect manuscript. And Optimus Yarnspinner's mission in life will be to find the complete manuscript and also the author, of whom very little is known, except that some years ago he disappeared under strange circumstances from the notorious and infamous city of Bookholm. Bookholm is a city where everything, all the activities revolve around books and book production and literature. So each house is either a publishing house, a library, an antiquarian bookshop, or something like that. And the most promising, but also the most dangerous place at Bookholm where to look at for the mysterious author of the perfect manuscript is in fact the underground labyrinth of the city. This is a gigantic world of its own, of dimensions never to be explored fully, where there are dozens of archaeological layers of former vanished Bookholm cultures with their libraries and bookshops and bookshelves in various grades of decay. And this is a dangerous place because there are also a lot of death traps. There are books that can kill any person that opens the book for the first time by very complicated mechanisms. And the most important danger there are the book hunters. This is the book hunters as a profession of brutal experts in tracking down valuable ancient books, and it's a mercenary type of reckless hunters who kill anyone who crosses their path in the labyrinth. And Optimus Yarnspinner will have to enter this labyrinth in order to search for the perfect manuscript and its author. This is all I will tell you about the plot. I don't want to place any plot spoilers here. I hope this is enough to give you a first impression. Admittedly, this is not a great high literature on the level of classics like Shakespeare or George Eliot or Dante, in which the great questions of humanity are discussed at a very profound level. But it is a highly imaginative, crazy book, full of a kind of insanity that makes you bend over in laughter. And it's absolutely fun for readers who like good stories centered on old and strange books, and who also enjoy literary puzzles and all things bookish. As I said before, the text is full with literary allusions, puns, and hidden references to narrative concepts and other pieces of literature. The narrator, Optimus Yarnspinner, rants a lot about the literary history of Zamonia and some of its weirdest authors, using also names of authors and titles of contrived literary works, which are usually anagrams of actual authors and works. For example, Perla Lagadion is the anagram of Edgar Allan Poe, or Ezela Wimperschlag is the anagram of William Shakespeare, and there are dozens of others. And so it's also an exceptional delight and fun to try to decode and all these little mysteries of that type that are scattered throughout the whole book. The author, Walter Moers, is also a master at changing his style flexibly during the book, under the disguise of Optimus Yarnspinner as the fictitious main author of the book. He uses a variety of styles depending on the situation. Sometimes even imitating or mocking at other authors that you may recognize when you read it. This is done all in a very funny way. One also soon becomes aware of the fact that the narrator, Optimus Janspinner himself, is sort of not fully trustful person. So he's sometimes very unreliable, because as the very successful author at Zamonia, and at the time where he is writing the story, he's the most famous one, he is already extremely arrogant and pompous, and sometimes falls into a bombastic and winding style as it is used in ancient chronicles. And another important feature of the book are the illustrations. The illustrations are also very funny and original. They are all drawn by the author himself, who has also published many comic books in the past with great success, at least in the German market. And so it's really a lot of fun to look at them in order to understand what the creatures of Zamonia look like. So I hope I have managed to convey something of my enthusiasm for this sort of crazy book, which is not a true classic of literature, but certainly a special and intelligent entertainment that you can not forget after you have read it, I promise. You may give it a try. Okay, that's the end of today's video. Please let me know whether you've liked it or whether you have already read the City of Dreaming books. I would be happy to receive and reply to your comments. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye and ciao.